Okay, so sometimes you want to work on half of a mesh instead of the whole mesh. And you don't really want to have symmetry on just because it gets kind of annoying. Or maybe your character is going to end up being asymmetrical or something. And maybe this topology symmetry would work better for that. So I'm going to turn off symmetry. Now I'm going to show you another method. Sometimes one side of your mesh gets really boogered up. And so you want to just delete the side that's bad. So if I go to cube, add some divisions, so if I go to face mode, I'm going to delete this half of the faces. Turn off soft select. Now I've got those faces selected. I'm going to delete that. Okay. Well, I can mirror this with a special, edit, duplicate special. You go to the option box, and you want to look at your cursor or the axes down in the bottom left of your screen. Y points up, Z is your depth, and X is your left and right axes. So the half of the cube that I'm working on is facing towards the X axis. So if I mirror this across the X axis, I can do that by scaling it to a -1 in the X axis. And this is X, Y, and Z, alphabetical order. And I can tell it to make an instance copy of this rather than an actual copy. And an instanced copy means, well, I'm not going to explain that just yet. But it just means that there's two objects that are actually the same object, but they're functioning in two different spaces. So if I duplicate special, there it is. Okay. Now, probably want to reverse the normals on that. And it's going to reverse on that side also. Okay. So that's a new feature in Maya 2015, which is not really a feature. Anyway, so if I manipulate this, just like I was working in the symmetry mode, I have what happens to one side is going to happen to the other side, because Maya thinks it's a trick of the computer. It thinks that this half and this half are actually the same geometry. They are the same thing. They just exist in two different places at the same time. Okay? So you can work like this if you want to, and then eventually you can combine it back together, which is the next tool. So if I do this, I select both sides, and I can go to the Mesh menu from the hotbox, and I want to go to Combine. Now they are a single object, but anything that was on the center line of this object is still really two separate things. And I can show you that. If I select a face on one side only and then press Shift period to grow that selection, it will never cross over to the other side because they're actually not connected. And I can even move that, and you can see that they're not connected. Most of the time that's not what you want. So what you can do is go to Object Mode and select it. It's a single object now, even though it's two separate pieces. We need to make it one piece. So if I hold down my space bar to open the hotbox, I can go to Edit Mesh, and at the very top there's this Merge Components. I want to click on that, and it merged the components in the center. Now let me do something real quick. If I go Display, Heads Up Display, Poly Count, I now have 98 vertices. If I undo, before I did that poly merge, that merge components, I have actually had 114 vertices. So I know that it got rid of some of them, which is good. So now when you're using this merge component tool, there's an important attribute. So I'm going to select this side of the face, these faces, and I'm going to slide them away. Okay. Now I'm going to switch back to object mode. I'll hold that, go to my hotbox, edit mesh menu, merge components, and it actually didn't merge anything. I had 114 vertices before, and I still have 114 vertices. But it did introduce a piece of history. So in my channel box, I can click on this poly merge vert 1, and it has this distance attribute. If I select that and middle mouse click, then I can increase that distance. Okay? Not working, right? Okay. Hopefully it's not another new feature. But if I can increase that value by typing in a number, which it won't let me. Okay, we got another new feature on our hands. Oh, it's annoying. Well, I'm going to have to come back to that. I used to use that quite frequently. Okay, I'm undo. And we'll just go ahead and use it like it was intended to be used, I guess. And edit mesh, merge components, and now we have 98 vertices instead of 114. Okay. So they're going to need to be close together. Now sometimes you want to merge vertices, but only the vertices that you want to have merged. Okay, so if I go to vertex mode on my mesh, I can select a vertice. And if I shift right click, I can move my cursor up to the merge vertices, and then there's this merge vertex tool. This really is the only one I use. Well, not the only one I use. I use this one and the merge vertices to center, in which case you can select 2 or more vertices and it will merge all of them to the center point of the selection you had. But the merge vertex tool allows you to click on one vertice and then drag it to another vertice, and then it will merge. It will pull that first one you clicked on to the second one. And so you can close hold this way. Okay? So that's a good way to close things up or merge 2 pieces together. Okay, so now I'm going to show you, I'm going to start another tutorial for this next section.